I'm Joe Janzen, agricultural economist at the University of Illinois. This is a 5-minute farm doc recapping the May 2022 USDA supply and demand estimates and discussing early new crop export sales commitments for corn and soybeans, which are currently at record levels for early May. On Thursday, May 12th, the USDA released its first complete supply and demand estimates for the 2022-23 marketing year. In the report, probably the most surprising thing was that USDA has already lowered its yield expectations for the 2022 crop, coming in with an estimated corn yield of 177 bushels per acre. This is no change from the previous year, but below the trend line yield estimate of 181 bushels per acre, which USDA released at its Agricultural Outlook Forum back in February. This combined with lower planted acreage, as announced in March, gives us a lower production figure for corn in the United States for this coming marketing year. Corn production falling by about 655 million bushels below last year's crop size. A smaller crop combined with high prices led USDA to also revise lower its estimates for use. Feed and residual use fell the most, about 275 million bushels. Exports were also down 100 million bushels, and exports are a topic that we'll return to in just a moment. This lower production combined with lower use has led to a slight drawdown in ending stocks, but really a stock situation for corn that's relatively similar to what we saw in last year. A very tight stocks to use situation below 10%, which is historically tight and leads to high prices like we've seen early for new crop corn. On the soybean side, those planted acreage reductions for corn have led to planted acreage increases. 91 million acres estimated to be planted for soybeans this spring. That's up about 4 million bushels from last year. This, combined with trend line yields, has led to production that's significantly higher than last year, an increase of about 200 million bushels for soybeans. This has also led to increases in use, in particular, USDA revising exports up about 60 million bushels from where they were last year at about 2.2 billion bushels. Whether we'll reach that target depends on, again, export sales pace, which we'll return to in a moment. This increase in planted acreage and with expected or trend line yields leads to a slight increase in the stocks to use ratio, stocks to use increasing by about 1.5% from last year, but still a historically tight stocks to use picture for soybeans. While the market will closely follow production and crop progress over the next few months, another source of uncertainty is the demand side, and particularly export sales, which tends to be the most volatile usage category on the balance sheet. Right now, we see record levels of export sales commitments for the 2022-23 marketing year. While 2021-22 was a very strong year for U.S. exports, we're on pace to exceed that, particularly if we see large export sales over the next few weeks and months. USDA export sales data show about 200 million bushels of export sales commitments for the new crop marketing year. And that puts us well on track to reach the level projected in USDA's latest supply and demand estimates. On the soybean side, we see even stronger export sales pace to date. While export sales for the 21-22 marketing year are strong, particularly in the late months of the marketing year when we've seen greater export sales as the Brazilian soybean crop came in much lower than expected, and the world turned to U.S. exports to meet soybean needs. We see almost 500 million bushels in export sales for this new crop marketing year, which is a record sales pace. Higher early new crop export sales are typically seen in periods of high prices like we have at present. The question is whether these current record level export sales commitments for 2022-23 can turn into greater exports for the entire marketing year. Some of this buying is clearly precautionary as the world worries about the possibility of even higher prices. However, we're on pace to see strong U.S. export sales in the new crop marketing year. For more information, see the video description below. I'm Joe Janzen, agricultural economist from the University of Illinois.